Hi, I'm Jonathan from Some Talented People and the Mental Wellness Society International. Today I'm joined by Charles McLaughlin from Future Perfect and from Kerr Lass from Wellness Orbit, and we're going to be discussing how mental wellness is the important aspect for our lives today. First of all, I'd like to give you some perspective of mine. I think, like a lot of people, lockdown and COVID has caused a lack of interpersonal relationships and closeness. And although I spend a lot of time on my own anyway, the lack of people that I meet has proved to be a challenge. Now, we all have our own mental strife, and one of the things I do, which we'll talk about when we talk about solutions later in the week, is so this morning I did 12 sets of 10 flights of a building I'm in. It took me 2 hours because physical exertion keeps my brain and my mind in a crisp state, which I think is very useful. And Charles from Future Perfect, we've talked before, but Charles, tell me about your experience.
Yeah, well, I think if this was 25 years ago, I'd be very reluctant to share my experience of a very severe manic episode that I had in my late teens. And when I look back on it, I was very, very ill. Classically, there is something called hypermania,
Right.
which is medical speak for madness. And I was actually picked up by the police on the streets of Oxford for behaving in a very bizarre way.
Wow.
And given my age at that time, they'd assumed that I'd been taking drugs. And they took me to the local mental hospital, pumped me full of to bring my mood down. And that was part of a journey which I suppose in some ways continues, but I was in and out of hospital pretty much for 4 years from that date. I did have a year when I went back to university, but then had another breakdown. And I think the two things I would say in the context of this conversation was, one, although there's a lot of bad press about electroconvulsive treatment, ECT,
Yeah.
actually that for me was the watershed, and that treatment enabled me to start to recover. And the second thing is that I have been able to self-manage that condition. So although my doctor thinks I'm a manic depressive, I fortunately don't have deep bouts of depression. And by carefully managing my mood, I've avoided any subsequent breakdown. But I am very cautious. For example, if I have 2 bad nights sleep, then I will usually do something so that I get a proper night's sleep. I'm very cautious about the fact that I need to actively manage my work style and my lifestyle so that I don't put myself into a state where I'm completely out of control. But I'm not under any medication anymore, and I haven't had a substantial breakdown. So there are ways of self-managing, and it comes back to the fact that I think we can make choices about our behavior when the medication brings us to a point where we can start to make those choices. But without the therapy that I did have, I don't think I'd have been in a position to make any.
So it's thank you for sharing that with us. So it's so some of the tools that you were taught in therapy you continue to use. Is that true?
I think it was less the tools that I was taught in therapy. It was more about reflecting on what things improved my mental state and what things undermined my mental state. So staying up all night working on an exciting idea, not a good thing for me.
No.
Not having regular meal times, not a good thing for me.
Yeah.
and having too much stimulation from other people, not a good thing for me. Having not enough stimulation from other people, not a good thing for me. So it's
Balance.
about recognizing when I'm on an up and then making choices to reduce that impact and to bring myself into a more orderly place rather than just enjoying the highs. Because, if you talk to anybody with manic depression, they'll say that the highs are wonderful.
Yeah.
It's really exciting. It's great fun. You have your best ideas. And they say that, if they have lithium therapy, which is the normal therapy for manic depression, then they lose that excitement of their exciting ideas.
Right.
And I think self-managing, you can have the best of both worlds. You don't have to have the lithium, which damps you down, but you do have to be very, very conscious of your mental state and reflect on that mental state, and then act in response to what you're noticing. That self-awareness, supported by people around me who love me, has meant that I can manage this condition.
Now, it's convenient. You'd think we'd planned this, but intrapersonal communication is Kerr's thing. So, Kerr, talk to me about how the tools work.
Well, basically, intrapersonal skills are awareness-based skills, which means that you have to become aware with what you can lead your own inner processes. And I've always been interested in those tools to self-manage and be well, in a sense that I used to work as a spatial planner. And it means that you come in contact with a lot of people. So there is sometimes anger, so there is sometimes frustration from others. There is sometimes also kind words and cooperation and fun stuff. But you have to always remember how to keep yourself neutral and well and respectful towards others. And that means that you have to, for example, become aware when some kind of a irritation is arising within yourself. And once you become aware of that there is irritation, then you have option to let go of it.
Right.
Because usually when the emotion takes you over, you use your self-awareness. And I think that's one of the sources and one of the key problems people have. It's very easy to lose yourself to your thoughts. It's very easy to lose yourself to your feelings. And awareness is something more subtle and something more inner tool than thinking or emotions in that sense. Right. And it allows you to control, and not only control, but also to lead at will your thinking and your emotions. And that gives you a power to stay calm and to let go of problematic inner feelings that you yourself experience and focus on what others are saying instead. It's kind of a conscious choice making how to listen. It's conscious choice making how to become aware of your own inner processes.
So it sounds, we're all guys of a certain age and we're all past middle age now. And I wonder if it is that perspective that allows us to observe our feelings in a way that we couldn't when we were younger. What I'll do is we're going to go for a break now. I'll be back tomorrow with the continuation of this. So keep watching, people, and we'll see you tomorrow.